the Board of Commissioners meeting to order for September 21st. First item on the agenda, pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a motion to approve the minutes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, but I either missed the correction when Cheryl sent it to me, or she missed it when I sent it back. My guess is I forgot to do it when I read it. On the motion to fund,
On the second page,
yeah.
up at the top, farm
Fund,
credit.
Rose Wilson, I added in there that it was a one-time deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the only one. I'm sorry if I missed it when you sent it to me, Cheryl.
Okay, motion's been made. I hear a
Second.
All those for the motion, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
And so approved. Sign that one. I'd like to hear a motion to go into non-public.
I'll make a motion that we go into non-public session. Thank you for giving this, Ken.
Yes, sir.
Non-public sessions 1 and 2. One under RSA 9183, paragraph 2, parentheses C, and session 3, a non-meeting, where there will not be any minutes taken.
I've got another session, 4, which would be included with
Oh, I missed.
same reasoning for RSA 91A3, paragraph 2, C. So that'd be session 4.
Okay.
I'll second it. Roll call.
Commissioner Ahlgren,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen.
Yes.
Commissioner Babson.
Yes. Just,
And so voted. We're now in non-public. Okay, we're back in regular session. The motion was made to come back into public session and that we seal the minutes of our non-public session. And now,
and we'll go back into.
and we'll go back into non-public later to carry out the other 2 meetings. So I guess we're at the point of public input. Anybody from the public have anything they want to speak about? Seeing none, we'll move along with the agenda.
Sir, I'd like to switch, I'd like to move it around a little bit, and I'd like to talk about the Mountain View Community Outstanding Accounts Receivable.
That's not on the agenda, right?
It's way down, it's up
Oh,
down
I see,
here.
okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Do you need a copy?
I do.
Oh, okay. So yes, you do, or you don't?
No, I don't.
So, Paula and Howie, why don't you just work your way into it?
These are the same, right?
Yes,
You
yeah, I'm
used
sorry,
the same
I
one
give you
from
more
last
than one.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't want me to print out a new one, he just said we use this one. This year, we've done a really good job. I mean, as you can see, we're at 98%, obviously still collecting. Past ones, I do know, I just got a remittance from Medicaid that says there's about $150,000 roughly that they're processing. So hopefully we'll get that in the next couple of weeks. And those are for the older claims.
Oh, nice.
And for what year is that?
What year are they processing?
Yeah.
From 2012.
Oh,
on.
So it's a number of years.
So it's a number of years,
Okay.
yes, but we're collecting on all the old stuff that we've been trying to collect on.
Okay.
But as far as current year, I mean, like I said, we're at 98% for January and February, which is really good. Most of the outstanding is just co-insurance payments, which come in slowly, and they've all been rebilled as of now. So I'll just wait, and if we don't get them in another couple of weeks, we send them in again.
So the first number we're looking at is July through December of 2015,
Right.
that time segment. And currently, we've collected 98%, 98.2%.
Yeah.
Okay. And before, it was around 97.5.
It's coming in slow, but it's getting there.
Okay. And then, the second one here is basically the whole year the whole year preceding that date.
Right, yep.
Gotcha.
That's
At
it.
97.45, and the time frame of which that $150,000 that you received word that's being processed, but those aren't from that time period?
It could be, there's
Some of them-
multiple different dates,
Some of them is,
so-
some of it isn't.
Yep.
All right.
Paula, what is the 12 million?
That's from if you add the July, from July
Oh,
1st,
okay.
2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
So percentage-wise, it looks pretty good.
Great.
Do you think it's a continuing? Then do you think we're gonna get the rest of it, or?
I mean, I hope so. Like I said, I'll see what comes in with the next big batch, and then I'll go back and review what didn't come in. And
So we have 150,000 coming in,
roughly, I think from Medicaid,
Yeah.
that was on,
but from previous,
yes,
from 12 to
right.
now?
It could be up to, yeah, there could be some claims on there up to now.
Okay.
There was a multiple dates.
Well, that's good.
the process, so.
That is. And that's the contracted rate number. That's
Right.
already been discounted to
Yes.
that number. That's the number they're gonna send us, not the contract, not half of
Hopefully, if
that.
all goes well enough, it's processed, yes.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, that does sound good. And it looks, and it looks good that, particularly that the 98.22% is higher than what we were previously getting, so from that previous time segment. So that's also a good sign as far as things going better for whatever the reason.
Well, thank you, Paula, for doing the job that you do and trying to get as much of this money as we can. Thank
So
you.
we're averaging in 6 months roughly $38,000 or $38,000 and a half a month that we don't receive, and that's an inflated figure because the month of June, which is 107,000, is probably 3 times what any other month is.
Yeah,
So we're averaging around 20,000 or somewhere.
Well, and but it's a matter of timing. The most recently billed is going to take some time before it's paid. So it doesn't make June a bad month, it just makes it the most
Oh, I
recent
understand
month.
that, Howie, but it inflates, if you divide 6 into 231,000, it comes out to 38. My point is that really isn't a valid figure because you're gonna get a lot of that money
Right.
if the average holds at about 20,000. I'll do that now, I'll add them up without that one.
Well, it's
See
going
what
to
happens.
be, I think if you jump right back to January, you're going to find something that's more typical.
Right.
You know, you're going to find that we're going to be above that 98% factor, which will be under $10,000 a month in terms of accounts receivable, which is, when you start looking at the amount billed, $750,000 billed, that's remarkable.
yeah.
How
We
much?
do better than many of the other counties that
Oh, yeah.
they get caught with a lot of Medicaid pending, and there's a lot of things, and largely because Paula gets involved with residents before we get into those situations, and screens, help, supports, and we get people off to a good start. We don't start in the hole like many of the other counties do.
In some, they just write it off after 6 months. If they don't get it, that's it, gone. So, no, I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Great
One-
job.
Now, when we have people who are basically in that transition between private and Medicaid, I know we had a situation with our billing that, we're still billing them for private monthly, but we're not collecting it because technically they've qualified for Medicaid, and we're just waiting for that 3 to 6 month process to take place. But there's something that we can do so that we see the numbers reflect more our expectation of receivables.
I mean, I can back out the pendings, from these figures. Like out of that 107,000 in June, if I had 2 pending people, there's 20,000, and you could say,
Right.
that's not what you're looking for to see. I mean, I can give you a figure of those kinds of things if.
Right, but you see what I'm saying, that, when we book our revenue, we're booking it, but some of it is being booked at the private rate, even though eventually our
Get the
expectation
Medicaid.
is going to get the Medicaid rate.
Right.
Correct.
And so having knowledge, I believe, of how much of this outstanding number is a number we don't expect to get, that in its own way is eventually getting written off
Right.
somehow. I'm not really sure the process we go, but eventually we would do that. We would write it down.
Yes, because the system, once I put them in from private to Medicaid, the system regenerates charges and calculates what their allowance is for between the private and Medicaid, and that gets booked to the contractual
I was
allowance.
gonna say,
At that
that's a
time.
contractual.
At that time, right. So that happens once I get the paperwork and they're finally switched over. So when I send those months, journal entries over to Kathy, the contractual allowance will be more for that month because it has extra money in it from private.
But I think that number would be a good number to have, a good number to know that, it says 77,000 is outstanding, but in actuality, we only anticipate getting 67,000 of that, because 10,000 is going to be contractual allowance that has not been put into our system. I understand that we should continue to bill them at the private rate, because technically, until they're approved from Medicaid, they're still liable for the private rate. So if for some reason it doesn't go through, then that's technically what they're liable for. But I don't know how significant that number is, and I think that would be an interesting number.
Do most people who come in are already in the Medicaid process?
Sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes we have people that come in skilled on Medicare, for
Yep.
example, and then they decide they're going to stay. Well, and then they need to go apply for Medicaid because they weren't planning on staying.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a significant number necessarily or not, but I know it's a number that we don't really account for, so I'd like to try to get at least a thumbnail sketch of what that number is.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I can
Medicaid
give them an
pending.
average, yeah.
Medicaid pending number.
Right.
And that way we just have an idea of, what effect that has, because at the end of the year, we're saying, the revenue was 11.2, but there's a piece in there that we're really not expecting to collect. And some of that, may be accounting for this 1.78 uncollected, which is a great number. In your line of work, that's a great number, I think, and to be commended for. Because I've had some experience with this, and it's not easy, and it is definitely not easy. It reminds me a lot of banging my head against a wall.
Yeah, someday.
So, I'm impressed.
Anybody from the board got any other questions? You got anything else you want to?
Yeah, I thought while I was here, we could quickly go over the plan of correction.
Okay.
Huh?
Paul was asking if
Oh, no, you
she
should
needs
go.
to stay.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
Not that she doesn't enjoy the company, but she,
I
I
know.
have things to do.
Thank you, Paula.
You're welcome.
So on, you know, we had our audit, our inspection, and I think it went very well, Howie.
you know, we'll never be satisfied with anything less than perfect, and we hate to come so close and not to have got it, but we didn't do badly. I did get the call late yesterday afternoon that our plan of correction has been accepted.
Oh, great.
We don't have it in writing yet, but Darrell Morrow from the Health Department, Health and Human Services, did call to say that it has been accepted and approved.
So the first one, is it F-tag?
In fact, they were all F-tags.
Okay.
No immediate jeopardies, nothing that was serious, widespread, or resulting injury or harm.
So can you just briefly tell us what the hierarchy, for the benefit of folks that might be listening, because when I hear F-tag, I think that isn't very good, whereas you said it's no big deal, so could you help us with the
Well, I should
hierarchy?
probably come back to you with the actual, it's a matrix. So you actually have to see it to understand it, because it isn't lineal, it isn't from A to Z. It takes into account the severity and the immediacy. And within it, there are 4 quadrants. And if you can wait, I'll come back to you with the actual chart, just to describe it, define logic.
Okay.
Because there's widespread, there's
Narrow,
incidental, there's, yeah.
Okay.
But one was just, when we freeze a lot of the health shakes, and when we unfreeze them, we're supposed to put the date on it. So,
And we do, but were we doing it immediately?
right, and that's what they want.
We were doing it before it went to the floor, where it mattered, and they don't get distributed right from the kitchen, they go to the nurse's stock. So it was getting to where it needed to be appropriately dated.
And
That is not best practice, because as soon as it comes out of the freezer, it needs to be, because the inspector, how does the inspector know that's what's actually doing? They found no undated containers on the floors, but here again, they were right. But it was not something that was a bad practice resulting in, it even had the potential for resulting in bad outcome for a resident. But they're right, and we need to do it right, and now we are.
So they want, so Howie's plan of correction for that was to take it, when they take it out of the freezer and put it in the refrigerator, they need to put a sticker on it and also log off on a sheet saying who took it out and at what time and what date.
Chris has already started
Yeah.
doing that, it's working on.
So it comes out of the freezer, goes in the refrigerator, and the manufacturer said it's good up to 14 days in the refrigerator. So there was a couple, there was a medication for some acetaminophen that was logged down after it was given and not before. And so those were just the two of the small ones.
We had one life safety. There's actually 2 inspections on one. When the state comes, one inspector, a single individual, Joe Romeo, does the building, and then there's a whole team that does all the practices. What Joe found is when the building was built, back in 2013, the regulation was that if you had a closet over 100 square feet that had combustible materials that needed to have a self-closer on the door, all the doors had that. Well, somewhere along the line, around 2014, that rule changed, and it was reduced to 50 square feet. We didn't know. Quite frankly, the state didn't advise us of that last year and the year before when they inspected it, but we did have 8 doors. Bob has since put the door closers on, and we're full.
When changes are made, how do you get notified of the changes?
Well, sometimes, as in this case, we don't. Sometimes you have to actually log on to, Medicare site and actually change and inspect, but we do not necessarily get notices unless it's something of a critical
Who
nature.
would do that?
Well, we need to be, and we're gonna start. Typically though, the state lets us know. And in this case, there's gonna be some major changes coming up in the state. Joe Romeo is actually gonna be hosting sessions for nursing homes to come and hear about the changes and how they're gonna inspect to it. That's the right way. This actually took him by surprise. I mean, our closets haven't changed in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
You're fine for the last 3 years. Some of those changes even got by the surveyors themselves.
Part of the mechanism is the survey itself, and that's why they're coming to help update new policies. That's part of what the inspectors should be doing, and I'm sure that that's part of their objective, is also to teach while they're there.
And usually they say, we're coming back and looking for this next year, and don't let it happen again. But in this case, apparently the federal government had taken special interest in this.
Yeah.
We could not have that latitude.
And a few years ago, the whole inspection, changed. It became it went from we got you on this one to, hey, well, let's work together and try to, implement this as a team approach.
The state has actually been wonderful
Yeah.
to work with.
Yeah.
So the past couple of years, they
The
changed.
chief of licensure, Mike Fleming, has been, I mean, you can call him, he returns his calls, he understands that his people aren't perfect, that
Yeah.
sometimes mistakes are made, and things are worked out. But they are also very stringent. So we have but our staff did a great job, because there are literally thousands of rules, regulations, and protocols that we have to abide by.
How are we looking in there? How many, what's the census today?
Census is 102, which means we
Okay.
got one empty bed. I do have some metric data if you want me to distribute it.
If you haven't printed up.
Yeah, I have it printed out.
Sure.
We don't have to talk about it, but I know that it's been a while, I know that you do like it. But actually, the top one is the cumulative days, which shows that we are running a little bit better than last year, which is always a good thing. Skilled is down a bit. Now, Ken, with your indulgence, I'd like to talk about skilled for just about 2 minutes.
Sure.
The sad thing, we talked about skilled here a number of times, but we've always done it in the context of budget. I've never taken the time to explain to you why we do skilled. Skilled is not, we don't do skilled because of money. The reason we do skilled, think what would happen if we didn't have skilled next door. Our resident who fell and broke a hip would have to go to another nursing home. We did skilled starting back in 2003 so that we could take better care of our long-term care people, so they wouldn't have to go from the hospital to another nursing home. If they're out for more than 10 days, they might not even be able to come back. The reason for skilled is to take care of the people that we have. Now, once we do that, we need to try to do that in an efficient manner. We're not trying to be the biggest skilled. We're just trying to make skilled reasonably affordable so that we can continue to provide this. My fear is that if we don't do it efficiently enough, there'll be a call to eliminate skilled. And I think at different times, we've all heard from the delegation, I think even from the chair, why not do away with it if it looks like it's costing us money? It's a tremendous benefit. It's mission-based. We're not going to make a lot of money. It isn't about making money, it's about providing service to the long-term care people who are there. It happens to benefit outside people who come in and discharge to home, and that's wonderful. But the real mission-based part of skilled is to take care of the long-term care, including our Medicaid people who have made Mountain View their home for life. But I've neglected to cast it in that light, because it's always been a matter of looking at budgets and revenue and expenses. But it's really a mission-based approach that's something I think, you as commissioners and all of us can be proud of.
Okay, you want to start on this, or how do you want to handle it?
I'm not sure that whether you want time to review this or at your leisure, or whether you do have any.
I want to know what happened on page 2, and why in August we're at 100 beds filled. And it's happened every year. Well, the last 3 years. 14, 15, and now 16.
Well, it's attributable to, it's always attributable to two things. Death and slow admissions.
And it always happens in August?
Well,
So that's why you get charged, so
We
you
see
can back
trends.
that out.
So you can see trends and maybe identify.
And you see in September, 14 to 15, it always drops again, so.
now August here, the red line is 2016, it actually census went up in August.
Well, true,
It was down in July,
yeah,
And it's always down in July too, look at that.
yeah.
but it doesn't look to be, I don't see if there's a seasonal correlation, and you're right to be looking for trends in pattern. The only thing that I see that is reasonably predictable is an increase in census in the fourth quarter. Starting September, you start seeing increased census. That's attributable to a lot of things. We could speculate to a lot of things, including people, right now the phone's ringing more with people wanting long-term care admissions because they made it through the summer, but they're worried about the winter. Seeing how winter is half the year here, it gets to be a bigger concern. So referrals come a lot more easily in the last quarter than they do during the summer.
Well, if you look at January and February, over all 3 years, you've had that slide. But this year, it went up in March, so it went against the trend.
In May we did well.
Yeah. Yeah, and in May, it's still following last year's trend, except it went up more. And again, it starts sliding down in June, July.
Except in 14 it was going up. It's
Right.
so strange, but
Yeah.
maybe there is no pattern, but I mean, your
Well,
hypothesis about people feeling more comfortable with their ability to care for themselves when it's not 2 feet of snow outside and not 20 below outside, that there seems to be some credibility to that, winter's coming, I'm not doing well, I've fought it as long as I can, but now it's time to face the reality that I really need to do something needs to happen, so.
Exactly.
So on page 8, the private pay census, looks like that's up.
That isn't, and I have to
We
say,
32 people private pay?
we do absolutely nothing to encourage that. Quite frankly, because we're looking to help those in greatest need. The private pay comes looking for us.
Yeah, we've always had a good private pay here,
Yes, yeah.
which is, I don't blame them,
It's a beautiful facility.
absolutely.
I've been looking at some private pay rates. I know that at different times you've thought it was high, but seeing what some of the other counties are charging, we're just in the county system, not even in our market area, they've started to discover that they can charge a lot more.
Did you see the front of the Union Leader today? One of the lead stories is in 2040. I forget the percentage, will be over 65.
It's huge. That's about the peak of the baby boomers.
And boy, I wish I could remember the number. It's well over 50%, as I recall, of the people in the state will be over.
The graying of New Hampshire. The sad part about what contributes to that percentage isn't just the number of people that are becoming 65, but we have a relative exodus of young people. So our young
They're
people
relative,
tend
yeah.
to leave, and then older people tend to either move here to retire or age in place. So we're an aging state compared to other states. Partly because of people getting older and boomers, but significantly because our young people leave. What's interesting too is that during this whole time, we're not going to see increase in nursing home beds. The state has taken the posture, and perhaps rightly so, to maintain or reduce the number of nursing home beds, and instead put all the commitment of money into community and home-based services.
But you gotta realize, there are people that are really sick and can't stay at home. And they have to have a place to go to.
Definitely. What you're gonna see, the net effect for us, and we're already seeing it, when you look at our residents who have passed away and you see that, they've been here 8 or 10 years, we're never gonna see the resident who comes in tomorrow is not gonna be here 8 or 10 years. They're gonna be here
Less.
18 months to 2 years. And so they're coming, so we're gonna see a lot more admissions, but a much shorter length of stay.
On 13, resident discharges per month. 10 discharges in July.
See, that's,
Well, I mean,
That's
look
way
at
up.
skilled though.
it's skilled, some are discharged to home, and some are deaths. But when you have that many discharges,
Well, I wouldn't consider a death a discharge.
well, for this
Would
charge,
you?
this is a combination of,
Oh. Okay.
so this is both. So it's all-
Alright.
So when you have that many beds open up, it makes it difficult to fill. So that'll correlate to the census
I see, yeah.
in July and August. Resident deaths on 14.
Yeah. February and July. Oh, I see, okay, 15 is discharges to home.
And that's what, that was 4 in July, which was a lot.
All right. Thank you. It looks good. All the trends seem to be going in the right direction.
Yeah. Okay, anything else you got?
I think that's all I have for you.
Okay, thank you, Howie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioners. Cheryl? Whatever.
So the jail medical, I'd like to push off till next week because of our morning.
Jail medical?
Yeah, it went a little longer.
Okay,
No smoking, let's push off till next week.
okay.
A quick solar update in your packet. I spoke with Jack yesterday from Revision and revising the placements of the solar arrays. It is going to cost more because we had to move them further away, and the cost wasn't as great. So they're going out and looking for some sort of grants to help bring that, to bring the cost down, to be a little more attractive for us.
You're talking about the
What do you
one-
mean, you just said the cost wasn't that great? Wasn't as high as they expected, or it was
The
more
cost-
than?
The cost wasn't what we would have expected.
Okay.
It went up because of the further distance away. But they were able to make them a little more efficient. So, you know how it was 75% for the jail and 49% for the nursing home? He upped it a few percentages. So more like 78% for the jail, and I think he said it was like 52% for the nursing home.
And that's because we don't have enough panels? If we had more panels, it's because of cost. Right.
No, they were able
Grants.
to, when they reconfigured the plan, they
Mhm.
put a few more panels in, so it upped the KW.
Yeah.
It was like 390, but now it's up to 410. So this is where the placements would be the least obtrusive.
Boy, the one down by the jail is gonna take up quite a bit of space out of that field, isn't it?
Yeah. But if it reduces 79% of the cost of
I
electricity.
understand. Yeah.
So, he'll be back in touch in a couple weeks. So they're trying to find a grant out there that might bring down the cost.
What would be the cost to us
I
for
don't
the
know.
present system? We don't know.
You know, because it would be that power purchase agreement. And, you know, we don't want to pay 11 cents a kilowatt, why bother having it, you know? So they want to get it down to where it's attractive for us, we save money, and they make money too, so. The farm consultant update, I spoke with Steve yesterday. Andy Kendall has said he will pay the $300 for the consultant, Rose Wilkinson. She'll be here tomorrow at 8 o'clock at their next meeting.
Great.
So I thought I would just update you on that. We also got a letter from the Mount Washington Valley Economic Council, and I'd like to read it.
Yep.
Dear Board of Commissioners, the Mount Washington Valley Economic Council Board of Directors enthusiastically supports the County Farm Advisory Committee in its goal of finding the best use for the county farm and lands. Putting a proposal out to bid for a feasibility study to meet that goal seems a logical path. A feasibility study could determine how the county farm and lands could be an asset to the county's economy. The council wishes the committee well in its endeavors. Sincerely, Mr. Jack Cuddy, Executive Director, MWVEC.
So that's from the Economic Council. Did we
Yeah.
get one from the chamber?
Steve went around to everyone.
Okay.
We have not, it took a
Yeah,
several weeks to get that letter.
yeah.
So I believe more should be coming. He did get an idea of a feasibility study. It's around 55,000 is what one of the suggested quotes might be. Rose is thinking that they could do it themselves.
I would, that crossed my mind.
So she sent him a bunch of samples. And she'll be here for about an hour and a half tomorrow, discussing certain options that we may do. Probably have a quick tour, just look out back, and to kind of get an idea of what would the lands look like.
Mr. Babson, you gonna be here tomorrow?
Tomorrow is,
Morning? Thursday morning?
I don't think so, but
You
I'll
don't
check.
think so?
Oh, Will will be here.
Okay.
I do have in the yellow folder, in your packets, I believe in your packets. Yeah, you have the MS 535 from Hale's location.
Yep.
Kathy asked that you sign it. Oh, it's not, yeah, put it in their packets instead. The MS 535 is the financial report of the town. And this was done by Sorensen and Heath. You know, it's basically the audit type thing.
You got the original? Oh, where's the original?
It came in an email from Sorensen and Heath.
But they didn't sign it either.
One of them has a thing on for Cheryl Burke. Is it on the front of that? What was on the front of your sheet? Yeah, right there.
Yeah. But it's not signed.
Why under fire? I thought that was a contractual agreement with the North Conway Fire Precinct, or whatever they call themselves.
It is.
Right, but
But why is it then why is it $4,020 more than what I thought was the contracted price?
that's a good question.
Well, the contracted price, are you sure that that's what it is?
Well, it says it's a voted appropriations. I don't have the budget with me.
I know they go out for bid and they give it to North Conway, but and on page 7, where they total it, the $4,000 is most of what makes up in the actual over.
What page you on?
That one is on 7. I'm talking about 7. Voted appropriations. Actual expenses are over about a little over the amount in the fire contract. So
4,000? Less, a little less than 4,000.
yeah. No, a little more.
On page 7, what?
7.
What about page 7?
Voted appropriations is different than the actual expenditures by about $4,000.
Which is accounted for in the fire contract, but is it somewhere else?
You know what? I'll send this to Kathy and have her look at it first.
Yeah, it's in the fire contract. That goes up a certain percentage each year, according to the contract, I believe.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be listed in the appropriation? If it went up 4%, would they put it in the appropriation?
Yeah.
I don't think it would.
Well, look at page 2. And look at advertising and regional association. We voted that amount, and we only spent $20?
Yeah, I noticed though, if you look over
What
on
the heck
page
is
6, if you look over at page 6, it says taxes assessed for local education. The appropriation was 0 and the actual expenditure was $79,805.
Yeah.
So perhaps that's what's going on there. Why one is,
Yeah.
the number seems to be pretty close to the missing number.
Yeah.
Where was that, Chris?
If you look on page
Page
6,
Okay.
under taxes assessed for local education, it has nothing for the voted appropriation but $79,805 for the actual expenditure. So just guessing that perhaps it was just the way last year she put it in, and then this year the way Melanson and Heath believes it should be put in,
Mhm.
as far as what the actual expenditure was. was trying to see if there's
So
anything else.
next time it should appear on page 6, voted appropriation.
What is advertising and regional association? 79,000,
Well,
with appropriated, you only
I
spent
think it's gonna be
$20.
education.
Well,
I think it's in the wrong spot.
or else they're calling the school district a regional
Regional association.
Oh, probably, maybe.
That's what I'm saying, is that's just maybe it got put into another category, like,
Yeah.
that was the way of putting it over there.
Yeah.
But the differential on the expenditures isn't somewhat of an issue.
Financial administration, 28.5. $26.99 actual spent. Well, I'm gonna forward this up to Kathy and
Yeah.
see what she says.
Looks like we have a fund balance of 44,000.
Mm.
Yep.
Deferred revenue of 26,000.
Well, I think the fund balance is actually this number, 105. This is the change, the increase. Ending fund equity from balance sheet, 105. I think that's probably what the fund balance is, but.
So it was 60,960. You add the 44 at 105.
Yeah. I guess is the right direction, I guess. Some
Mhm.
people would think, some people think it's not. But yeah, I think we definitely should find out why the amount of the fire is greater. If it was because of the contract or because there's something else going in there now that wasn't anticipated when she put this together.
If there's ambulance and fire, that's all I know of.
And for whatever reason that is more expenditure was over the appropriation, and that has to, we need to make sure that's corrected.
All right, I'll send it to Kathy. Do you want me to have her come in and explain it?
No, she'll charge us mileage.
Oh, come on. Big deal.
The,
No, why, she should be able to tell you and you can tell us.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in your packet, you'll find we received the Carroll County tax appropriation apportionment. Sorry. And I had Kathy do up a little chart, a little Excel spreadsheet. She's really good at that. So last year, this year, and what the difference is.
Yeah. Why the drastic changes?
I'm guessing revaluation. Because if you look at Moultonborough, it went up another 183,000. So they went up from 21.97 to 23.019.
But if you look at Wolfboro, it went down,
Yeah.
142,000.
So Albany went up, Bartlett went up, Conway went up, Effingham went up, Hales location went up, Hart's location went up, Moultonborough went up, Sandwich went up, Wakefield went up. Then you've got Brookfield went down 2,000, Chatham went down almost 500. Eaton went down 4,100. Freedom went down 33,000. Jackson went down almost 12,000. Madison went down almost 51,000. Ossipee went down 14,475. Tamworth went down 7,800. Tufterboro went down 43,000. And Wolfboro went down almost 143,000.
Yeah.
So totally countywide, there was a decrease in the apportionment by $180.
Okay.
Does that mean their tax rate went down?
Yeah, I think so.
I guess so, yeah, it went from 17,623,774, and that's the county tax, to 17,623,594. So we went down $180.
I guess overall, that's good news,
Good news.
that the tax rate, right? I mean, the
Tax rate
overall
went down.
taxes are basically the same.
Well, some towns are not happy though.
Well, that, we don't have
We
control.
don't control
We don't
that.
control that.
But we reduced our county tax $180.
Okay, next,
That is all I have.
signatures we need?
I just have concern. I'm just a little concerned about the fact that these expenditures are more than the appropriations. And there's some sort of
With
action.
towns, I think you can do that.
Oh, you can.
I think with towns you can.
You can, it's not as big a deal. I just want to make sure
Because
it's
it's
not.
run by selectmen, you guys can, from what I understand, I'm not familiar with town government, but from what I understand, you can go over the appropriation, I'm guessing.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with it either. but I
That's
think
why
it's-
I'd like to,
talk to Kathy
Let
and
that
make
come
sure
down.
there's not, so before we send this in, was there some sort of action that we should take as the selectmen that we need to take, some sort of action we might need to take in order to make this okay? I mean, it's just okay the way it is, I don't know.
but I don't understand what
It's a
the
fairly
$4,000
insignificant amount in the big scheme of things, $4,000. But nevertheless, there may be something we
Is there
have.
anything in the other authorizations?
But more revenue is taken in, right?
Oh, yeah.
To cover that.
Overall, the fund balance went up $44,000.
So say that we're concerned about that.
66%. That part's good, but just,
Give a reason for the increase in the fire, and also see if we can get some information on going over the expense side of the budget,
right.
okay?
Sure. So next week we'll do the jail medical policy approval, and we'll go back to the no smoking policy.
And we'll look at Hill's location,
Yes,
okay?
if I get answers back.
Okay, we got signatures we need on something?
Just some non-public minutes from last week.
Okay,
The upcoming events, September 21st to the 23rd is Association of Counties down in Portsmouth. Happening tomorrow here at 8 o'clock, we have the Farm Committee meeting.
and Will's gonna be there at that?
Steve and the group, and yes, Will's going to be there.
Oh,
And,
somebody
Ro-
from here.
Yes, and Rose Wilkinson as well. Next Wednesday is the resident breakfast. It starts at 7:30, so our meeting won't start until 9 o'clock. So it's 9 a.m. start time next Wednesday. And October 10th is right around the corner, and that'll be Columbus Day. That's it. Any commissioner updates?
Mr. Babson's got one.
What is that?
Extension meeting last night?
Oh, yeah, we had the,
I have to remind you?
no, but there was really nothing to report. We had the cooperative extension advisory committee last night. This slow cooker program that they have, they started at, I think, the Wakefield food pantry. It's now expanded, and they're putting on a whole bunch of them and getting a really quite a response. There are going to be 2 of them, one in Brown School in Conway, and another one in the school in Conway. Yeah, one in the one in during the day, and one in the evening, and there are 4 or 5 sessions. They also, Klaus brought in his project for the kids this year that, I forget what they call it, but they do a statewide competition where you can make a car out of a mousetrap and, I guess it's just a mousetrap. And he brought in one, it was amazing to see. It went the length of the desk, powered by the mousetrap. And it gets the kids in the STEM program, the science, technology, and math. It was impressive, but that was all we did. You got the 2 fairs coming up, Sandwich and
Freiburg?
Freiburg, if any people would like to judge. You get, your reward is a couple of free tickets to the fair.
By the way, Rick Young is not in charge of the field day judges.
Who's
They
today?
gave it up last year.
Who is?
I don't know who it is.
He should know, right?
Yeah. I will not, go ahead.
So that was it. It was a good meeting. Will, our farm superintendent, is chairman of the advisory board, does a good job. And we had a lot of, the lady that's in charge of food safety from UNH came and gave a presentation, and if you listen to her, you probably would weigh 80 pounds or less and don't eat anything.
That's how bad food is?
Yeah, how dirty it is and you couldn't eat it. They went over the new federal regulations on how many days before manure can be spread on a field and you can eat the food, washing your hands, everything. We should all be dead.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I do have one more item of business.
okay.
Just
You have
remember,
anything to report on, Chris? Commissioners report?
Sorry, excuse me. No, I don't have anything to report. We do have ongoing negotiations going on with the unions that are ongoing. We have a couple of meetings set up for next week.
Next week? Okay. I will not be here on Wednesday, the 5th of October. I'll be tied up all that week.
Make
Okay,
me a beehive while you're going up there, will you? Make me a beehive while you're going up there.
I'm gonna make 2 of them.
I'll take
I
one.
got orders for 2.
Well, make 3, I'll take one.
yeah,
Means I gotta order another one? All right, go ahead.
Bob?
Morning, Commissioners. Mr. Babson.
One?
Morning.
We have some issues with the blue van,
With
with the blue van at the nursing home. So I just want Bob to come up and,
the bus?
No,
no,
the blue van.
The van.
Yeah.
I saw it was up to North Conway.
Yeah,
Country
it
Tire.
was up there getting inspected.
Oh,
But it's a 2004, it's 12 years old, it's got 140,000 miles on it, and it's starting to have some issues. starting to get some rust through, and it's costing more and more to maintain it, and it cost me $700 just to get it inspected. You saw it there the other day. My recommendation, I brought to Howie and to Ken, was that we seriously consider replacing it this year or getting rid of it. And I think I can speak for Howie, that since they're not doing medical runs anymore, Howie's under the feeling that we don't need it anymore.
Don't need it.
Don't need it. So, that being said, what is your pleasure? Do we keep it?
For what purpose?
Exactly. Or do we put it up for sale?
Use it any place else on the complex?
We can
Delivering
certainly
food to the
That's what I was thinking.
ask Jason if he's interested, see if there's a use on campus.
Well, I know that, I heard him saying something about a truck that he was having to do quite a bit of repairs on, but he was willing to do it because he didn't care what it looked like, But I agree with the commissioner, obviously, the first step is to make sure that within the complex of the county, there's not a place that can use it before we dispose of it, and in turn we dispose of whatever vehicle it was replacing.
So I'll check with Jason and see what the situation is with his vehicle.
Okay.
It can be done, it can be used for that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
A lot handier than the truck, maybe?
I don't know if it's handier, but it'll do the same job.
So if it's not being used now, what is happening? Everything's being done in-house?
Well, it's being used, but Howie just curved back taking residents for medical appointments.
Yeah?
We're using the coach solely for recreational trips. We're not doing medical appointments anymore. That freed up the vehicle. That's what we used for those trips when you had to take maybe 1 or 2 residents. And it was also a secondary vehicle when we did recreational trips. So the recreation part of it will suffer maybe when we do the 4th of July parade, that type of thing, when we need both vehicles. But that's only a couple of times a year. Like I said, I made the recommendation, and Howie seems to think that we don't need it
Okay.
anymore. And we were doing medical trips up until the 1st of August. So it's just.
And so any medical trips now are using the bus?
No, we're using a private, like a wheelchair van, and it's being able to be billed under Medicaid anyway, so. Or we offer in-house, and we've always offered that, but if people want to go to their own doctor, which they have a choice to do that, either a van will, like a caravan will come, or the family member might want to take them to, as well, so we would give them that option.
So we don't use that at all?
No.
Any longer?
As of August 1st, its use is very limited.
Okay.
We'll still use it occasionally if we had it, but can you justify it? Probably not.
So now it's been fixed up and it's been inspected?
It still needs the body repair from the damage that we took in the right quarter.
So if we use it for moving food, we don't have to have it
Probably not.
fixed up because of rust?
Yeah. Probably not.
Because we won't take it off
Right.
of campus.
Okay, I guess, Ken, it's up to you to
Okay.
find out whether Jason can use it or...
And if he doesn't
Other
want
uses.
it, we'll put it in the sale with the sheriff's vehicles.
Which, how many vehicles are there?
Yes, three.
There's 3 out there.
3 that are gonna be, well, again, is that a case where the jail can update theirs? They've got 2?
Yeah, but Jason's waiting until he does the all-wheel drive ones. So he's gonna wait until next year.
Can I show?
And they need...
Oh, yeah, thank you. You saw how Willie's starting to work on the sidewalk.
Yeah,
We're having, You know those big giant evergreens that you would keep asking us to trim back from the doorway here? It's 3 feet over into the doorway. Yeah, we're right outside the door.
The shrubs.
You mean
Yeah,
the lilacs?
Shrubs.
Huh?
The
No, the
lilac?
shrubs.
No, the yews.
Okay.
We either want to just rip them out and replace them with smaller shrubs, because these things have grown so high.
Yeah.
The dispatch people don't like coming out that door at night because the shrubs are so high, they think it's a security risk.
Rip them out?
Okay.
Can't
The
be-
the one out front here, can't even trim it anymore because it's only green the first 6 inches.
Yeah, it's very difficult when it gets that old to
Yeah.
prune them.
So we'd like to rip them out and plant something
Put
smaller
smaller
next
ones
year.
in there.
One of the things is they should be pruned regularly, and they're not.
Yeah.
They've grown out of control, and we don't have the people to trim them.
I noticed the rhododendrons on that side of the building, the large parking lot side, they were all budded up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really pretty next year, next spring. But, yeah, I guess I would recommend that they be pulled out.
Okay, as long as we have your blessing, we'll do it. Now's the time to do it since the sidewalks
Yeah.
getting
You
ripped out.
guys agree?
No,
Yeah,
Seems fine.
go.
2 to 1.
2 to 1.
Oh, you don't think it should be?
No. Just, I'd trim them back and let them grow in, and,
But if you trim it back, it's all brown inside.
well,
though.
that's fine, but they're gonna grow back green. And you're gonna have,
I
you're
don't
gonna
know,
have.
well, let's ask the expert.
You got a root complex that'll push the shrubbery out, and they look nice, and you get one in there that you put a new one in, and you gotta take care of it. We don't have the people to come up and water it, and fertilize it, and do whatever you're gonna do to it. I'd rather see a brown one for a while and see if we can get it to come back.
Let's take a look at it and maybe I can convince you.
So right now it's a 2 to 1, not official though, but
I don't know how you feel about it.
he said rip them out, so.
He said rip 'em out.
Rip them out. That's what I
If
said.
they're overgrown,
Yeah.
they're overgrown, you pull up the sidewalk anyway.
And that apple tree out there that's half dead ought to be ripped out also.
It's gone.
It's
It's
gone?
gone.
I didn't notice that,
No,
okay.
it's gone. But you were right, it was half dead.
Yeah. Girdled by weed whackers.
Yeah? Jeez.
Okay?
Anything else?
So what's the
And that's,
verdict?
well, while
Yes.
we're on that
Keep it
subject,
out.
somewhere along
Okay.
those other apple trees ought to be pruned, the crab apples ought to be.
Crab apples ought to be pruned, yes.
They
They're
weren't
out
touched last year,
probably several
and they're gonna
several
be,
years.
Who knows how to prove it? Who knows how to prove it?
well, we got cooperative extension courses that anybody can go to for free and learn how to do it. They gotta look like an umbrella, and they don't look like an umbrella, they look like a out of control bush.
Oh,
A crab apple tree looks like an umbrella?
All of that, the crab apple, right?
Those apple trees are like Christmas trees.
You must go to a different cooperative extension.
I didn't
training
go, I
course
didn't go
than
to Brown,
went
I
to.
went to University of Rhode Island, but, okay,
You have different kinds of trees in Rhode Island and
yeah.
well, brown, all they have is brown trees.
What else you got?
That's it?
Yeah, the attorney's project is done.
You heard?
Oh, and
Happy.
so is the registry of deeds is done too.
Oh, the glasses in? I
Glasses.
peeked in there, I
Glasses
couldn't
in.
quite see it, I was gonna check it on my way out, I'll definitely check
I
that.
think everything came out.
Are they putting a cap on the top of that glass? Oh, they're not?
No. We were considering it, depending on how the strength of the wall was, the 4x4s. But it turned out that those are anchored in well, they're not moving.
I think a cap would look better, but
That whoever the fellow was we gave the contract from Effingham did a really nice job.
Oh, he did a great
He
job.
did a nice job in here.
Yeah.
Done on time and under budget?
All under budget.
Great.
and he was so, I mean, he cleaned up after himself, he did a good job.
Really did a good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good call, send him a letter, thank him for a good job, and keep him on the Rolodex.
Absolutely. That's all I have.
Okay, that's it.
Thank you.
Good small job contractor. They're They're gold.
Yeah, they're, and
Good
they're hard
small
to
town
find. aren't they?
contractor, and it's worth the gold.
I mean, he came on weekends, nights.
Okay, we got anything else in regular public session?
No.
Public input? From
Do you
anybody?
have anything?
No? Okay. Then we need to go back in the non-public?
I'll make a motion, we go into non-public for session 3 and 4. I don't know,
3 is a
3 is a
non-meeting.
non-meeting, I have no idea what 4 is, so I can't.
91A3, paragraph 2C.
4 is,
Don't look on,
4 is the same as 1 and 2.
he's gonna give
no,
me.
the RSA 91A3 2, parentheses C, matters which if discussed in public would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to include any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of fee, fine or other levy if based on inability to pay or
What?
poverty of the applicant. All right, motion's been made,
Second.
seconded, roll call?
Commissioner Ahlgren?
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes.
Commissioner Babson?
Yes,
And we have no business after, right? I don't.